Today we will talk about XRP and SHX with some ties into R3 Corda and Project Jasper in Canada. Ripple has ties into institutions all over, with Canada being in the top 5. Stronghold Pay supports payments in Canada. In 2023, Payments Canada cleared over 100 trillion in payments, compared to the US ACH network, which handled over 80.
So let's start with some brief introductions, and then we'll dive straight into the questions. Donna, I'll start with you.
Yeah, thanks, Robin. Good morning, everybody. And I'm Donna with Payments Canada, and recently joined the organization about 7 months ago as the Chief Payments Officer. Under my purview or mandate, I have policy, research, marketing and communications. I oversee industry relations, product. And I'm happy to be here. As many of you know, Payments Canada owns and operates all the clearing and settlement payment systems for Canada. And just for order of magnitude, last year we cleared and settled approximately over $100 trillion of transactions.
Here is documentation from Stronghold explaining how they are active in Canada, New Zealand, and in the US. As far as R3 and Project Jasper go, there are ties into Payments Canada, the Canadian Central Bank, as well as Ripple partner Accenture. And I have talked about it in the past, whereas recently as 2021 and 2024, there is clear documentation explaining how R3 in fact uses XRP.
Payments on blockchains, specifically the Jasper-Ubin project with the Monetary Authority of Singapore and the Bank of Canada as stakeholders. The 44-page paper was released last week. Here's a quick summary. The focus of the Jasper-Ubin project was to explore models for cross-currency, cross-border, cross-blockchain payments in central bank-issued tokenized money. The goal was to prove that this could be done atomically using a cryptographic trick called hash and time-locked contracts, HTLC, which ensures that either all the value moves all the way to the intended recipient, including FX, or nothing moves and all the money is returned to the sender as if it never left. The setup was Singapore dollars issued by MAS on a Singaporean quorum network and Canadian dollars issued by Bank of Canada on a Canadian Corda network. This phase focused on 3 conceptual designs based on earlier work. Design 1 was with an intermediary who has access to both networks and who does the FX and transfers. For example, HSBC Singapore having access to Singapore dollars in Singapore on Quorum, and HSBC Canada having access to Canadian dollars in Canada on Corda. This is the most traditional setup. Design 2 explored foreign banks holding central bank tokens directly. For example, HSBC Singapore can hold Canadian dollars on Corda, and this would mean that the central banks would allow foreign banks to hold their digital currency. And Design 3 explored money to be recreated as depository receipts on other networks. For example, HSBC Singapore could hold Canadian dollars, traditionally a Corda asset, on Quorum in Singapore. The central banks would act as the agents who issued these depository receipts onto their own networks. The first design with intermediaries was implemented successfully in this phase. So what does this mean? This shows that blockchains can be used to move assets across a number of steps and parties in an all-at-once or not-at-all way. It also shows that tokens, including money, can jump across different blockchain networks using cryptographic tricks. And finally, it demonstrates that the enterprise blockchain industry continues to make progress.
With Ripple's ties into Canada, as well as HSBC, their connections into R3, and Stronghold's concentration on Canada, it is not clearly calling out involvement. However, if you connect other dots, it begins to make a lot of sense. In 2021, it is called out that R3 Corda uses XRP as the first settlement mechanism. And here in 2024, it calls out R3 and the EHKD, which ties into HSBC. And as far as Canada and Stronghold go, Stronghold acquired 222, and we have a Canadian fintech company, Money, partnering with the Interledger Foundation to provide cross-border payments in between over 130 countries. And in my last piece of content, I explained how Stronghold is interoperable with the ILP and Stellar. Here is the Money website, and it calls out cross-border payments between over 100 countries from a single API, which is also one of the things that Stronghold concentrates on. They are trying to create interoperability through easy-to-use APIs. Provincial Securities and Derivatives Regulation provides regulatory framework for the regulation of digital assets in Canada. And when we are talking about derivatives, we have Ripple partnered up with the IS and with Stronghold expanding their footprint into Canada, as well as its interoperability with the ILP. It just provides another extremely valuable connection. And here is Ripple's page on the ISDA site. Here is an overview of the importance of Stronghold's acquisition of 222 labs. With this acquisition, Stronghold is better equipped to assist companies with global transactions. The strategic play significantly enhances Stronghold's proprietary payment network, further aligning it with ISO 222 standards. 222 appears to be tied in with Canada, New Zealand, and Australia in helping them change over to ISO 222. And in Stronghold's own documentation, it includes those countries specifically. 222 Labs has endorsements from Visa Canada, MasterCard Canada, Clearinghouse, IBM Canada, Payments Canada, and FIS Global, which can be seen on their site.